Hello everyone, my name is Justinus Calvin Gaimali from Universitas Kristen Satyawacana, Salatiga. Today, I'm going to introduce you and talk about an interactive reflective writing technique. And let me start from the problem that I had. So back in the year 2019, I took the doctoral level English literacy course at a public research university. And one of the challenging tasks in this course was reading 3 books in a semester and writing a reflection on what I have read. For information, those books have hundreds of pages, use an advanced English vocabulary level, and discuss, in my opinion, complex literacy theories. And more specifically, in writing the reflection about one of the books, so my professor instructed all students not to copy and paste sentences from the book, but then we should respond to some ideas we were interested in each chapter of the book and define meanings of literacy at the end of the reflection. As a student whose first language is not English, I once struggled to write my first reflection. Little bit frustrated, so I asked myself, how can I complete this task successfully? So long story short, after submitting my first written reflection and reflecting on my writing experiences and activities with my professor and classmates on the task, so I'm very much interested in theorizing a technique that allowed me to reflect on my readings and complete the task successfully. And I do hope that this technique might be useful for English as foreign language students in Indonesia, as who probably have similar tasks and challenges to what I had in the year 2019. And I name the technique interactive reflective writing technique. And this technique has 3 main principles. They are making connections, interacting with other people, and writing reflectively. And let's discuss these principles one by one. And talking about the making connections. So there are 3 types of making connections. Number 1, in connecting text to self, we can ask how what we have already known, our personal experiences, feelings, and thoughts can relate to what we read. Then, in connecting text to other texts, we can think about how the books we read are related to other sources, like, for example, journal articles, magazines that we have also read previously. Then, in connecting text to the world, then we can ask if the readings can remind us of families, some famous people, events in our lives, and what is going on in the world outside the school. And then the second principle is writing reflectively. It shows our ability to react to what we read, and it allows us to make sense of our past experiences and gives deeper insights into meanings of those experiences as well. And then in writing reflectively, we may write using informal language, like, for example, using the first person to talk about personal experiences. And then the last principle is interacting with other people. And in my context at the time, the interaction was done asynchronously, where students read one another's written reflection, gave written constructive and non-judgmental feedback to the reflection, and responded to the feedback. And then the feedback was also from the class professor, who read, highlighted, and commented on the reflection. And this interaction was based on the literature that knowledge growth might result from interacting with one another. And a little bit about the book. So in the spring semester 2019, I was assigned to read this English literacy textbook written by Frank and Key, 2017. And the book, 214 pages in total, has 12 chapters and 2 additional sections, the introduction and epilogue. So my task at that time was to complete reading this book in the first month of the course. And then every 2 weeks, I had to read and reflect on 6 to 7 chapters and type my reflection on the readings and submit the task to the university learning management system. And at that time we used Blackboard. And then my professor set an asynchronous online discussion forum in Blackboard that lasted for a week, where my classmates could read and respond to my reflection. And my friends or classmates may also agree with or challenge specific ideas that I wrote in the reflection, ask me for clarifications, or say what they could learn from my reflection. And I also did the same procedures for their reflections. And then, after completing the asynchronous written dialogue with my classmates, then I received written feedback from my professor, who underlined some sentences in my reflection that I submitted to Blackboard. And then my professor handwrote some inputs on the underlined sentences, as you can see there on the slide. All right, and then this is an example of my written reflection that I submitted to the class. So what I present here are only smart parts of the reflection to save the time of my presentation. And then in reading the reflection, I let my readers see the reflection from their point of view. And then, as you can see on the slide, I made the text-to-self connection. For example, when I wrote that I put the concept to my role as a researcher, blah, blah, blah. And then I also wrote reflectively here when I wrote and made sense to my experiences that I perhaps should do more than just writing a research paper and publishing it in an academic journal. And then, as you can see there, that is my professor response to my reflection. And this is another example of text-to-self connection that I made to the book, especially when I wrote that I've been more careful about publishing my article in an academic journal. And I also made the text-to-text connection when I remembered what Renandia 2014 said in his article about the danger of publishing in a bogus journal. And as you can see there, that is also my professor's response to my reflection. And this is the text-to-word connection that I made when I talk about the challenges of ensuring that parents outside the classrooms can positively view games to enhance their children's learning practices. And for your example, this is also the asynchronous online discussion that I had with my classmates who at that time read my reflection that I posted on Blackboard. So basically, we responded to one another ideas. So I have illustrated how the interactive reflective writing technique was implemented in my English literacy content course, and eventually I can come to the following points. So number one, done using the technique, my written reflection on the first book received positive responses from my course instructor and also from my classmates. And number two, my professor's constructive feedback and the asynchronous discussion with my classmates helped me progress what I write in my reflection. And number three, my study would like to highlight the importance of collaboration among students, their classmates, and course instructors to comprehend a textbook with hundreds of pages, advanced academic vocabulary, and complex English literacy concepts or theories. And in the end, I'd like to say that the technique that I used to read the book also helped me to answer the main question of the task in defining the word literacy. And as you can see there, those are some ideas that I can have to answer that main question after I read the book. Alright, so I end my presentation with a question. So will this interactive reflective writing technique be successfully implemented in your classrooms? So please try the technique and let me know whether it works well or not. So I think that's all my presentation, and thank you very much for the attention. Bye.